So I'd like to call to order the Pickering School Building Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Joseph Smart.
Present.
Mayor Nicholson.
Present.
Brian Castellanos.
Present.
Lorraine Gately.
Present.
Superintendent Tutwiler.
Present.
Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith. Yes. Mike Donovan.
Present.
Kevin Rittershouse.
Present.
Deborah Ruggiero.
Present.
Mike Bertino.
Present.
Rich Marlin.
Present.
Peter Kolakithis.
Present.
Lori Makala.
Present.
Tom Mannion. Tom Mannion. Absent. Jim Ridley. Jim Ridley. Absent. Lauren Drago. Absent. Councilor Wayne Lizzie. Councilor Wayne Lizzie. Absent. Councilor Rick Starboard.
Present.
Councilor Diana Chakoudas.
Present.
Jessica Gerardo.
Present.
Karen Miller.
Present.
Mayor Tom McGee. John Ford.
Present.
Thank you.
Great. So we have the meeting minutes from January 31st, 2022. I believe Danielle sent those around. Any motions to approve?
Motion to accept. Second.
Roll call, please.
Joseph Smart.
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson.
Yes.
Brian Castellanos.
Yes.
Lorraine Gately.
Yes.
Superintendent Tutwiler.
Yes.
Mike Donovan.
Yes.
Kevin Rittershouse.
Yes.
Deborah Ruggiero.
Yes.
Mike Bertino.
Yes.
Rich Marlin.
Yes.
Peter Kolakithis.
Yes.
Lori Makala.
Yes to accept.
Councilor Starboard.
Yes.
Councilor Chakoudas.
Yes.
Jessica Gerardo.
Yes.
Karen Miller.
Yes.
And John Ford.
Yes.
Great. Just so everyone knows, the Attorney General doesn't want us to do voice votes over Zoom. Just if you were wondering why we didn't do that. That's why we're doing the roll call. All right. The Pickering School Building Committee website and public documents. I think Danielle has an update there.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give a quick update on a web page that we have up and running that's dedicated to this project. So I've just attached a link to the web page in the Zoom chat. This web page is accessible from either the City of Lynn or website, or also the Lynn Public Schools website, and it's intended to function as sort of a one-stop shop for any documents or resources that are related to this project. This webpage will also be updated quite frequently. and it's intended to function as an outward-facing platform to keep community members abreast of all related to this project, but also as a resource for all of you with public documents related to this project. So there's information related to meetings there, including meeting agendas, meeting minutes, and recordings, as well as news stories and articles related to this project. So if you've visited the webpage, you can see that information from last week's meeting. So the agenda, the minutes, and the recording is all in one place there. And there's also contact information and information about all of you, the school building committee, on that website as well. Are there any questions in the meanwhile?
I actually noticed, so it has me listed as a Lynn Public Schools teacher. I am not a teacher at Lynn Public Schools. So while I am a teacher and a parent, I do not teach in the Lynn Public Schools. So I teach at Masconomet Regional, if you want to adjust that, Masconomet Regional High School or Public School District.
Yep, we'll definitely make that change.
Thank you.
Anya, can you send that address to our email so we have it on an email too? Thank you.
I can follow up with an email after this meeting.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Zania. Obviously an important tool for us to be communicating, so please continue to reach out if anyone has any additional questions there. Next item on the agenda is reviewing the draft owner's project manager request for services and edits by the OPM selection committee. So the edits that were made by the OPM selection committee were pretty minor and straightforward, just to correctly number the floors and updating some dates. I think Danier sent out the updated draft. So did anybody have any questions there? Great. So the next item would be a vote to approve the RFS to send to the MSBA.
Make a motion to accept the RFS as presented.
Second.
Great. Made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Joseph Smart,
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson,
Yes.
Brian Castellanos,
Yes.
Lorraine Gately,
Yes.
Superintendent Tutwiler,
Yes.
Mike Donovan,
Yes.
Kevin Rittershouse,
Yes.
Deborah Ruggiero,
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Mike Bertino,
Yes.
Rich Marlin,
Yes.
Peter Kolakifis,
Yes.
Lori Makawa,
Yes.
Councilor Starbird,
Yes.
Councilor Chakoudas,
Yes.
Jessica Gerardo,
Sorry, could you not hear me? Yes.
Karen Miller,
Yes.
and John Ford.
Yes.
Great. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the review of the timeline and project milestones. And I think we're going to ask Mike Donovan to give an update there.
Good evening, everybody. So the next steps in the process will be for this RFS to be sent to the MSBA. It'll go out this week prior to the 10th. It'll be advertised. We'll get some comments back from them, no doubt. But it'll be advertised in the Central Register and a paper of local circulation on March 2nd. And at a point, there'll be an informational meeting, non-mandatory for any respondents This will be at the Pickering School at 10 a.m. on March 9th. School building committee members may attend if they wish, just can't, we can't have more than a quorum that would show up. But there'll be some of the people who will be responding will come there and ask questions, and we'll tour the school. So that's on March 9th at 10 a.m. And the responses to the RFS are due on March 16th. At that point, the OPM selection committee will get back to work, and they will shortlist the respondents and then interview the top 3 respondents on March 28th. So between March 28th with the interviews, there'll be reference checks, and then negotiations between the city and the OPM. And then on April 6th, we have to submit the final selection. So somewhere between April 1st and April 6th, the school building committee will have to meet to approve the selection of the OPM selection committee. And then in May, we'll go in front of the MSBA, and they'll let us know about our choice. The next step after that will be moving right into the procurement of the designer, and that'll take approximately 4 months. So there's not much for the school building committee to be doing until we get to the beginning of April. So there's a period of a break, and then another period of a break before we can actually get into work with the designer. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Could I just say something? This is Thomas Mannion. I joined it a little late. I'm really not used to the Zoom stuff, so I wanted to put my vote in as the affirmative for the project moving forward. I'm just new to Zoom, really, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here. And just to summarize real quick, we just voted for the request for services to hire a project manager. So we'll update that, and we're obviously very, very early stages, and thrilled to have you on board. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'd like to, I got on late as well. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the committee. Supportive as well of moving this project forward, and look forward to the process. I know we won't be that involved at this point. The selection committee will be working on picking the right team, but glad to be involved and as part of this group and see this on to a successful project happening for the community and for the students in the city.
Thank you so much, Mayor McGee, and thank you to your leadership, your administration, for putting us in this position where we have this opportunity. We're all very, very excited. Any other questions about the next steps or anything else?
Mayor Nicholson, I do have a quick question. I think this is for ISD. While I was reviewing the request for service, I noticed 2 things. Both schools, Sisson and Pickering, are both connected. They share the same certain infrastructure. How are we planning? What's the goal? It's almost because we're asking money for Pickering. So where is the money allocated for just Pickering, and then the city of Lynn will also have to pay for any work that's being done in Sisters, such as new boiler or dividing building as 2 different buildings because of any fire requirements. Is the money being allocated for just Pickering, and the city will pay for Sisters as a separate project, or it will now be considered both school will have to receive same type of renovations or scrutiny by MSBA?
So there are 3 choices here: renovation, and addition, or a new building. If the first 2 choices, renovation and or renovation and addition, are chosen, then if there's new boilers put in and the connections to Sisson, the MSBA will fund what needs to be done in regards to make
Yes,
things whole. They won't cross into the building, but they'll make things whole. If they share a system, if they share a roof, if they share a boiler, things of that nature. If the choice was to tear down the existing Pickering building, then a component of the design would include what is necessary to maintain the shared services with Sisson, but they'll only carry a very short way. If it affects the Pickering school, they will most likely pay for it. If it's an improvement that doesn't affect or is not affected by the renovations or construction of the Pickering school, they will not pay for it.
I believe during the last meeting, you mentioned that we should just aim for option one as a complete new gut out building instead of reno or doing both of them. I believe you said just option one was probably the cheapest option. Is that still the case?
I think it's a great question. I mean, it's one that I think Mr. Dunn had some preview as to how that might go, but I think that's going to be a decision that we make together throughout this process. And that's why right now we're just hiring the project manager, we'll hire a designer, and we'll be able to get all that information on the table. Mr. Donovan, Mike, is that how you would characterize it?
Yes, sir. That what you've stated is 100% correct, sir.
Okay. So we have not made a decision saying option one, because I remember me saying last week, well, I attended Pickering, right? I don't want it to go away. It's not an historical building, 1905, but at this point, it almost seems like it makes sense to just go ahead and rebuild a brand new school. So it almost seems like from the jump, option one is the only option. And so I don't see the reason to actually explore option 2 or 3 if we already saying it's cheaper and it will get us to the amount of classrooms as needed. It almost seems like it's no brainer to, instead of paying the manager to tell us what we already know pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think we're hoping that because we have a lot of great information about what condition the building is in, that this will accelerate the decision, right? Because we can use the analysis that we did last time, but we still have to go through it for the MSBA process.
Okay, thank you. Oh, one other thing. Does it have to be a lead project?
Say it again.
Does it have to be lead project, Mr. Donovan?
Yes, we will be shooting for lead or higher.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I can ask, so I just actually thought about this. So if we do go with a new school, will the intent then be to tear down the old one? Will that be part of the project, or will that have to be a totally separate discussion after we pick a new location?
Mike, will you share some of the thoughts you had on that? Because this came up with our last school committee meeting as well.
Yes, sir. So in regards to the demolition of the existing building, if we build on the existing site and the demolition is necessary for the construction of a new building, the MSBA will pay their share. If we build somewhere else and we don't demolish the building or don't need to demolish the building for our new building, then they won't share. That's what happened to the city back when we built Thurgood Marshall. Because we selected a totally different site, they did not allow the demolition to be participating as part of their reimbursement. So there could be many reasons to demolish the building for a parking lot or something, but that is something that's way further in the scope as we do the study.
Could I follow up on that, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mayor.
I think that, so as we're bringing on this team, I think all of these questions are part of that discussion. Mike, I'd ask you, so as we go through it and say we determine that it's a new school, will the study include what shape the old Pickering is related to that? So that, one, initially that would be swing space, obviously, until the new school is built. Secondly, we could make a determination based on whatever data we get that we could, repurpose the school, we could tear it down. So I think there's a number of options. So I think part of this whole process will give us the information to make those kind of decisions. So that's, I think, part of the reason we bring the team on. Not that we've just determined that okay, the new school is appropriate. I guess the question is, what happens to system that's brought up tonight? What do we do with the old Pickering? Do we repurpose it? Where does the new school go? And Mike, I know you've been through this, so those are the kind of questions that and data and information that the group that we choose will be, and we as members of this committee will be able to discuss and be a part of as we get the information and the data to inform us on the right decisions. Is that what we'll be looking at?
Yes, sir. That is exactly what we'll be looking at. There'll be a whole big picture for the city, where we're going from here.
Great. This is really helpful. I think just want to thank everyone for jumping into a series of meetings on a short time frame in order to get this RFS out the door. So thank you, everybody. Thank you again for agreeing to serve on the committee. This is an incredibly important project we're really excited about. Were there any other final questions? Great. Then a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Joseph Smart,
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson,
Yes.
Brian Castellanos,
Yes.
Lorraine Gately,
Yes.
Superintendent Tutwiler,
Yes.
Mike Donovan,
Yes.
Kevin Rittershouse,
Yes.
Deborah Ruggiero,
Yes.
Mike Bertino,
Yes.
Rich Marlin,
Yes.
Peter Kolakifis,
Yes.
Flory Makua,
Yes.
Tom Mannion,
Yes.
Counselor Starbird,
Yes.
Counselor Chakoudas,
Yes.
Jessica Gerardo,
Yes.
Karen Miller,
Yes.
Mayor McGee,
Yes.
and John Ford.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Please feel free to continue to reach out with any questions, and we will be updating, keeping everybody updated, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Thank you. I'll take a Zoom lesson.
You did great.
Thanks.